Stardew Valley is to games what Taylor Swift is to music. Successful beyond belief, constantly talked about by both fans and haters, and guaranteed to drive traffic to poorly written articles with misleading headlines designed to get you to click them. The headlines have been so misleading, in fact, that the developer of Stardew Valley himself, ConcernedApe, recently tweeted out, "I think I'm done doing interviews." And can you really blame the guy? Every time this man does an interview, dozens of articles pop up all over the internet, many of which look for the most controversial as possible out-of-context quotes to use as their headlines, and thus the clickbait is born and the misinformation is spread. Today, we're going to talk about the egregious amount of Stardew Valley clickbait, misleading titles, and lies that pop up across the internet daily, including fake Stardew Valley 1.7 content leaks, why ConcernedApe is thinking about calling it quits on interviews, and what you can do to help combat online misinformation. So, let's cut right to the chase and yap about it. What is with all of these gaming media outlets having such a massive hard-on for Stardew Valley? I get it, the story behind the game is pretty much a wet dream for any journalist. Eric Baroni worked non-stop on the game on his own for many years, supported by his loving partner, and he experienced the kind of success that pretty much everyone dreams about, but very few people actually work hard enough to achieve. Plus, in the process, he created a beautifully cozy, in-depth game which he regularly updates for free. I get why you would want to write about that ad nauseum. It's an interesting enough topic to not need any fancy wording or clickbait in the title, and if we're being honest, it's also part of the reason why the game is as successful as it is. However, me and probably everybody else that plays Stardew Valley, well, we're pretty sick and tired of the name being thrown around like some sort of magic word and mushed together with other titles in the hopes of riding those cozy coattails all the way to success. There's no way you've never seen an article titled something like Stardew Valley meets whatever game in this new hit RPG on Steam, or some variation, right? Well, I'm not exaggerating when I say that there are hundreds of these. Let's have a look at some. Stardew Valley meets Valheim in Steam's latest must-play freebie. Stardew Valley meets Zelda, an open-world RPG you may have missed. Stardew Valley meets Bloodborne, a new RPG you can try free now. Stardew Valley meets Life is Strange. Stardew Valley and Satisfactory. Stardew Valley meets Breath of the Wild. Stardew Valley meets Assassin's Creed. Stardew Valley meets a sword-slashing medieval fantasy adventure. Stardew Valley meets Twin Peaks. Stardew Valley meets The Sims. Stardew Valley meets WALL-E. Stardew Valley meets Resident Evil. Stardew Valley meets Studio Ghibli. And so on. You get the picture. Stardew is giving these websites so much mileage when it comes to clickbait articles. Every single game out there that describes itself as cozy or has even a hint of farming mechanics to it will unfortunately receive the Stardew Valley meets treatment. And in most cases, the sites that publish this garbage don't even include the actual name of the game that they're talking about in the title. No, you have to click through and do some actual reading before you know what they're talking about. And that's if you manage to successfully read their slop without getting a headache and needing to lie down. Now, I don't know about y'all, but hearing a game described as Stardew Valley meets insert name here is an instant turnoff for me. I will, in fact, actively avoid playing any games described to me in such a way. I don't need Stardew Valley to meet anything other than me at my PC with my snacks. The game is still being updated. I'm still playing it. The player base is literally stronger than it's ever been. So why would we want to play something that's similar but not Stardew Valley? Plus, you're doing games everywhere a disservice by insisting on comparing them to a 10-year-old indie exception that smashed expectations. Let them stand on their own merit, and I promise people will probably still click your dogshit articles. Actually, something that I found pretty interesting while compiling articles for this video was that a large amount of the results I was getting were from Gaming Bible. Now, if you play video games and have an internet connection, which I assume you do because you're here watching this video, what's up Sarah, you will know that Gaming Bible sucks. Like, they are just straight up awful and a poor excuse for quote-unquote video game journalism. I say this as somebody who was actually featured in a Gaming Bible article not too long ago. They covered my recreation of Stardew Valley in a wonderful diorama building game called Tiny Glade and gave it an appropriately clickbaity title, First Person Stardew Valley Exists, even though I was already fighting for my life in the comments because people were really weird about it and accusing me of trying to steal Stardew Valley or remake it or whatever, when all I did was just, like, play a cozy game. Anyway, I went and did a little more digging into Gaming Bible. Specifically, I used their search bar to look up Stardew Valley meets, and oh my god, there's 10 pages of this garbage. They've concocted at least 100 articles where they use the words Stardew Valley meets, and clearly it's working for them or they wouldn't keep doing it. I would say do better, Gaming Bible, but I know they won't. Now, as angry as it might make me, I do understand why they do it, and why it probably does appeal to some people who are looking for a Stardew Valley-like experience. However, my understanding stops when we frolic into the realm of straight up lying to get a few more clicks, which is what prompted me to make this video in the first place. A few weeks ago, ConcernedApe tweeted that he thinks he's done doing interviews. This comes off of the back of a slew of articles being posted online claiming that ConcernedApe was planning on adding infidelity and home wrecking to the game, with bad social consequences for breaking up marriages. Responding to many now deleted posts on Twitter, I refuse to call it X, sorry, ConcernedApe clearly had enough of the rumours and the lies as he tweeted out, "It's fake news," clickbait article, and "the quotes are taken out of context and don't capture the whole spirit of what I was saying. They make it seem like this is something I am planning on adding, but if you read the actual interview, it's clear that I'm not going to add it." The original post that sparked all of this was a post by GoNintendo.com, which, to their credit, once ConcernedApe called them out by replying, "Nope, fake clickbait," they immediately deleted the post and reached out to apologize directly to ConcernedApe. For this exact reason, I don't have the clickbait title that originated everything, but I do have a few others. From GamesRadar.com, ConcernedApe says future Stardew Valley update might let you cheat on your spouse because, quote, "you should be able to do wicked things in a sandbox game." From GoSuGamers.net, Stardew Valley dev says players might be able to cheat on spouses and destroy families one day. From MSN.com, Stardew Valley might let you cheat on your spouse, alongside this image, which, I'm not gonna lie, this got a pretty hefty laugh out of me. And of course, from GamingBible.com, Stardew Valley dev teases infidelity in next update because why not? Now, where did all of this come from? ConcernedApe has talked about toying with the idea of breaking up Robin and Demetrius, for example, in past interviews. But this particular interview that everyone is taking out of context is a Game Informer interview, where he briefly mentions that it's something that he's thought about with consequences for the player's actions, but ultimately he reasons that Stardew is meant to be an escape from real life, and including something like that might be a bit much. You can actually go and read this interview yourself if you subscribe to Game Informer, which I highly recommend. It's a very well written article and offers some interesting insight into the ongoing development of Haunted Chocolatier, and Game Informer in general is a wealth of gaming information without any of the annoying clickbait. Now, of course, ConcernedApe denying the headlines does not stop the rumour mill, and it most certainly does not stop gaming media outlets, if you can even call them that, from running with it in the hopes of garnering a few extra clicks here and there. However, ConcernedApe seems pretty done with it all, tweeting, "I think I'm done doing interviews," not too long after this entire debacle, and I can't blame him. It has to be exhausting just trying to exist as a person, providing free updates for your fans constantly, to then have the media take your words and twist them into something that you never said. To clarify, ConcernedApe himself said that the issue is never the interviewer, but rather what the headlines do with his words after the interview. These outlets end up creating clickbait that honestly most Stardew Valley players would fall for, especially if it's being framed as a direct quote from the developer himself. All of this is made even worse by the fact that just a few weeks prior to this incident, ConcernedApe tweeted, "Any claims that there are leaks of 1.7 content are fake. There are no leaks." No, it's okay, George, that's not the type of leak we're talking about, no need to panic. This tweet comes on the heels of an account right here on YouTube called Cozy SV posting blatant lies about the 1.7 update in short format. In one video, they claim to have an insider-leaked development build that was sent to them, in which the Hatmouse's ruined house is getting a makeover and becoming a full shop. However, this is just a mod and not information taken from any sort of insider-leaked development build, because no such thing exists. They even go on to suggest that you can marry the Hatmouse, which is kind of ridiculous, but you know there's a market for it. In another short, they state that in 1.7 we'll be able to take the bus to Zuzu City, which I personally would love it if it were true, but again, it's coming from a source that states that they have access to a leaked development build, which ConcernedApe has denied. The biggest and most egregious lies that this channel is telling, however, is that in the 1.7 update, if you don't marry your chosen NPC fast enough, the NPC that you wanted to romance will get engaged and married to another character by year 3. They back up all of these claims by using an image of some fake made-up code, potentially even AI generated, I don't know, to make it look legit. However, ConcernedApe himself has come out to say that he has never had any plans whatsoever of adding any features like this to the game. Now, you're probably thinking, but Trashy, this is just one person posting lies on the internet, that happens all the time, and they don't even have that big of a following, so how much can it really matter? And normally, I would agree. People post misinformation all the time, it's true. But not all of them post it to the tune of 2.7 million views, 152,000 likes, and over 3,000 comments from people who believe it to be true. And that's just on one of these shorts. To this day, because I checked, they still receive comments from people who believe it to be true, while also being actively called out in the comment section for posting fake leaks. As far as I can tell, the only source for these supposed leaks is this channel. They have been told multiple times in comments that what they're saying isn't true, and yet the videos stay up, because obviously having millions of views is more important than integrity and the truth. But how do we even know what's true and what's not anymore? And this, of course, is not only pertinent to Stardew Valley news and leaks, it's absolutely everywhere. The internet has always been rife with misinformation, but it seems to me that we've entered the golden age of misinformation. Lying on the internet has never been easier thanks to generative AI, and while the ideal solution would be for all of these bad actors to stop posting misleading clickbait or straight up lies on the internet, we all know that's not going to happen. It is unfortunately on us, the consumers, to exercise caution when presented with new information about our interests, which in this case is Stardew Valley. Basically, what I'm trying to say is don't believe everything you read or see online. That's right, my advice can be summarized by something our parents told us growing up, something a lot of my generation already has drilled into their brains, and this Abraham Lincoln meme. All of this is to say that yes, misinformation is infuriating and liars on the internet are gonna keep lying. The only person that you can trust at the end of the day is yourself. If you read an article that sounds too good to be true, or you hear a rumor about something that doesn't quite add up, do your research. Even if it does add up, look into it more. We live in a world where we're no longer allowed to take information at face value without doing our own research, or else we risk being tricked and lied to so that somebody else can make a quick buck. I truly hope that ConcernedApe goes back to doing interviews. His perspective on making games and art in general has always been fascinating to me, and his comments on pixel art are actually what inspired me to learn how to make my own. In fact, and I'm being a little vulnerable here, I even naively reached out to him in the early days of my YouTube channel to ask for an interview. A message that I am pretty confident never actually reached him, or if it did, it probably got buried under a mountain of similar messages, but the sentiment still stands. I would love to have a conversation with Eric one day, and it's kind of sad that people being idiots on the internet might get in the way of that. At the end of the day, all we can do is our best. And our best might just be staying skeptical of literally everything and anything that we read on the internet. Even this video. I might not agree with straight up clickbait and lies, but I am not beyond writing something controversial into my script for the engagement. Go check the comments. How many people feel some sort of way about the fact that I compared Taylor Swift to Stardew Valley in the opening sentence of this video? Because I'm willing to bet that the answer isn't 0. And that's basically all I have to say. I appreciate y'all including me in your day, and hopefully I will see you in the next video. Also, side note, while gathering sources and information for this video, you know the little people also ask section in Google where it shows you related questions? One of them was, why do autistic people love Stardew Valley? And as a woman in her early 30s who is currently attempting to get diagnosed in a system that really is not making it easy for her, I don't know, Google, give me a break. Pixel game fun. Okay, love you, bye!